Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. This is May Kunka with Remax Elite Realty. I'm here in the San Gabriel Valley and I cover the greater Los Angeles area. This week I want to talk about renters, renting out property, and what to do and what not to do. So when you're renting out a property, whether you're going through a company or you're doing it yourself, there's a couple of things that you want to pay attention to. So if you are renting out a property and you are not permitting any pets, make sure that you do not discriminate against emotional support animals. Those are different. It's a special category, same as the service animals and stuff like that. So they're not considered pets. So if someone calls and says, I don't have a pet, but I do have an emotional support animal, the best thing to say is go ahead and submit your paperwork and you will take a look at it to make sure that everything else checks out. So you can't really say, I don't want pets, period, because you will be violating a Fair Housing Act. Another thing is we use this company called RentSpree. I know there's a ton of other companies out there that I'm not really familiar with, but we here use RentSpree. It's a nice company where you can get screening. I have a lot of clients who end up renting out their property and they say that they want, to check credit. It kind of gets really difficult because you're going to have to collect money, then you're going to have to, upload onto a website and then get it back to them. So an easy way to bypass this is if you sign up for RentSpree, they handle the screening for you. So if you have applicants who are interested, you can direct them to the site. Normally what you do is you put in their email and I'll send it to them. They'll pay RentSpree directly. You don't touch their social security number or anything like that, so there's no breach of information that falls on your hands. And then the report comes back to you and it goes to them as well, so they can hold on to it. And then it will check for evictions, criminal records, bankruptcies, and it does the normal stuff where it pulls up scores and tells you their ratings and everything. So that's a really nice, clean way to handle that part of renting out. Now, when you are screening someone, the tricky thing is making sure you pick the right person. So if you're doing this yourself and you're just relying on the information you have in front of you, make sure that you call all the references. I normally don't get really excited when the references is someone's friend or someone's family, because obviously they're biased. So if you're applying for a rental, keep that in mind. Try to put maybe your supervisor, your mentor, if you're younger in college, maybe a professor or someone like that. That's gonna hold more weight when the landlord's calling, and that's gonna help them be, okay, this person is in a professional background. They're gonna give me, transparent information at least. But more importantly, not just looking at the paperwork. I've come across applications where the FICOs are great, everything checks out, they have low DTI, which is debt to income ratio. They don't have a lot of high balances on their credit cards. They pay on time. But the applicants themselves seem kind of not like a good fit. So it's important to just talk to the tenants as well, because the vibe you get from them is just as important as what their paperwork says. And I can tell you, I've rented out a lot of properties, and some of my best tenants didn't have the best scores, and they didn't have the best, if you look at the paperwork, as far as DTIs and all that stuff, even though I just told you that is important. It is important, but you should kind of look at the big picture. And I'll give you the example of one of my best tenants that didn't have the best FICOs. I looked at it. He was a teacher, single, and the reason why his FICO scores were low and his DTI was high was because he just accumulated a lot of school loans. And so I looked at it and I told him, listen, that was my concern with your file, but of everyone I spoke with, he seemed the most responsible. When I talked to him, he was polite. When I replied, he replied back. All those little things that you can get with a normal conversation, that's important to take away. So I just said, my concern with your file is this. It wasn't that you were going to be on time. Your landlord said very nice things about you. You do work at where you say you're working, and you do have a long work history. So what I ended up doing was I ended up writing him onto a month-to-month contract instead of 1 year. That's one thing you can do so you can have a quicker exit plan. And I also increased the amount of security deposit I was asking for, and I justified why. And then I asked if he could pay 2 months in advance. So there's little things that you can do to make it work, so you can set up a little bit of a safeguard for you. The criteria for renting changes all the time, and I'm not a specialist in this, but just make sure you're up to date as far as what you can ask for as far as security deposit and what you can and can't do to make sure you're within your rights. But that's what I ended up doing with this tenant, and he was there for I think 4 or 5 years and never gave us any trouble, was very easy to work with. And so that's kind of my 2 cents about screening. Don't just look at the paperwork, and sometimes, the numbers do tell you the truth. This person can't catch up on their bills, don't have enough money, aren't paying on time, and that right there should tell you enough. But it's not always the case to indicate if someone's good or bad. So pay attention to these things when you're renting. I'm going to put the link up for Rent Spree. If you know any other sites that does this, I'm sure there's tons. Post it here and I'll share that with everyone. But if you have any additional questions about renters, let me know. It's kind of a lot to think about, especially if you're renting out a place that is your own or you're going to be living next to them. You want to look at personality and lifestyle too. That's really important to think about. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So follow us next week for another video. But if you like these videos, please go ahead and like it, and you can find out more information about me on my website at maykunkarealtor.com, or you can message me on Instagram and Facebook right here at Maykunka Realtor. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.